Hi, my name is Pop. I'm making a video showing how you can write a book and publish it on Amazon Kindle. This is the cover of a book which I have already sent to Amazon Kindle, and I have several of them up there. I'm going to go through it not in all details but in the basic steps and show you how to do it, so in case you want to do this yourself. Now, this is a novel, but of course you do not have to write a fiction thing. You can write something that is non-fiction. This is the cover, but this is the book, and I've written the book using LibreOffice Writer, which is the word processor that comes with LibreOffice, which is an office suite. And the office suite has a word processor, a spreadsheet, a database, and a presentation program. The presentation program is what I use to make the cover. And you can use anything to make the cover. You can hand draw it, but you've got to have some kind of cover. And a cover does sell the book. A plain cover like I had just there that you saw without a picture on it is a disservice to the sales. The fancier the cover, the more attractive the book is, and the more attractive it is, the more likely it is that it will get sold. This word processor file shows the heading, that is the title, in yellow. I just did that for my own convenience. And the blue, that is chapter 1. And over on the right I have got all the chapters in the navigator, and when I touch on one of these it goes from chapter to chapter like this. Now, you will need to have that because when you write a book, if it's lengthy, you will confuse yourself even though you are the person creating it, and it takes a long time to write. For example, here is the word count. I'm going to pop it up on the screen, and the word count here is, let's see, what is that? It's going to be 128,000 words. If you write 1,000 words a day, it'll take you 128 days to write this book. Now, in the early days of pulp magazines, the science fiction writer, the guy that started the Scientology church, supposedly this guy could write 10,000 words a day on a manual portable typewriter. That seems hard to believe, and because they couldn't rewrite and they couldn't correct, but maybe that's true. So I mean, there is something for you to shoot for if you've got that itch to write. Now, your chances of making money on this are, well, it's less than the chances of you making money winning a lottery ticket. Believe it or not, you might make $100, $1,000, you might make 10 or 20,000 bucks, but the chances of you making a living doing this are slim to none, with emphasis on none. But that's not the reason why most people want to create anyway. I don't know what it is. There's a Latin term for the itch to write. It's called cacoethes scribendi, the bad feeling to write. And there's something about the creative process that attracts a certain kind of person. Well, I am now going to show you how to take this book and turn it into an EPUB using Calibre, and I have got prior videos that show this in greater detail. Calibre is going to be used in this instance to create a MOBI file. Up here I have got a method where using LibreOffice Writer you can create an EPUB file, and actually an EPUB file is an easier file system to work with, and I suspect that Amazon Kindle is not really happy with their choice, but they sort of painted themselves into a corner. Here's another thing you can do with LibreOffice Writer. You can export this directly as a PDF file by just one click. So EPUB or PDF with one click, and boy, it's fast. But MOBI is what we're going to use, and so because of that I have got to use Calibre. So I'm going to turn off the word processor, go over here, and I'm going to type in Calibre, and there's Calibre. And Calibre is a very long loading program. It takes a few seconds. Now you might wonder, well, why in the world do I do this? Why do I go to Amazon Kindle? Why don't I just take my manuscript, bundle it up, take it down to the post office, and send it into New York? Well, who are you going to send it to? You're going to have to send it to a literary agent, and you're going to spend a lot of money on postage, and the literary agent may or may not even respond to you. and in fact the literary agents sometimes get 1,000 such packages per day. And the publishing industry in New York City and Manhattan is faltering anyway. It has not responded to the impact of Amazon, which is online publishing. And online publishing seems to be supplanting what's going on in New York City. Well, with Amazon, you can get yourself published. You do not pay a dime to do it. They will publish it for you for free. They will put it online. It is not what is called a vanity press publishing company. In a vanity publishing company thing, you have to send them money, and it is usually kind of a scam. With Amazon, though, you're not really risking anything. Amazon's risking a little bit. Okay, I am now going to open up this book, and here it is. And here's my science fiction book, and I'm adding it to Calibre. It's going to ask me also, after it adds it, do you want to add the title page? Do you want to add cover art? It'll make a generic cover if you don't tell it what to do. But right now I'm just going to quickly convert it, and it's going to default to Mobi. The other one is EPUB, but Mobi is the one that we need to use. And I'm going to hit OK. And when I hit OK, it starts to convert. And you can see the little, what do they call it, little wheel thing that goes around and around that tells you that it's processing. And up here it says ODT, and then when it's finished, it's going to say also Mobi. And then after it says Mobi, I can tap on it and I can open it up with the ebook reader that comes with Calibre. Calibre has a sort of a rudimentary ebook reader which allows you to read EPUBs and Mobis, and you can see if it looks right to you. You can change it around. You can make the fonts bigger and smaller and the indents smaller or bigger. You can make the margins different. You can add pictures, you can add diagrams, and you can add the table of contents. Mobi has got some limitations though, and after this is done, I'll briefly show you what this looks like. This is taking an extreme amount of time because this is a very, very long book. This is not a short book. A kid's book would be about 40,000 words. An adult length book is somewhere in the neighborhood of 80, 100, 150,000, something like that. A sort of a fat paperback. And after it's done, I am going to then go online, and I will show you how to take this book and submit it into Amazon Kindle. Alright, now this is finished. You can see where it has given us a notification that it's done. I'm now going to open up the Mobi, and I just tapped on it, and it takes a second for the ebook reader to open it up. I also use FB Reader. This ebook viewer that comes with Calibre is pretty good. My preference is FB Reader on the Android, and there are many other ones that you can use. You can also download one from Amazon Kindle to use on your own computer. Now I'm going to go from page to page and see what it looks like here. This thing is justified, and there's lots and lots of holes in the center of each, but I'm not worried about that because you can change all of that around. I don't have any pictures. I don't have any drop caps. I do have a table of contents, and we want to be able to look at the table of contents here, and this goes from page to page. And let's see, that's full screen. Here's our table of contents, and I'm tapping on it, and it doesn't show a table of contents, and that's because when I gave a quick instruction to convert the book, I neglected to tell it to create the table of contents. But when I sent it in to Kindle, it of course did have a table of contents. Let me now go to Kindle and I'll show you what it looks like. You can go to Amazon and then tell them that you want to start publishing a book, and then after you've published one, you can just look up your name, and when you look up your name, it'll go right to the Amazon website, unless you've got a very common name, and in which case you might get a bunch of entries. But my name is spelled funny, and I can go right to Amazon and right to the books with just my name, and it'll show all the books which you have got, and I think I got 5 up here, and here's the book we were talking about, and if I go to this book and tap on it, you can go look inside. You can set the price anywhere from $2.99 to I think $10, and you can tell them what countries you want it to be published in. I just set it to as many as possible, please, and you will get 70% of every book that is sold. And you can also tell them if or not you want it to be let out in their lending library. If you pay so much a month to Amazon, they'll let you, quote, lend a book. And when you borrow a book like this, you don't have to pay for it, but the money that they give in order to become a lender, some of that is sent to you, so you get some of that too. You can also tell them whether or not you want to have your book with digital rights management. In other words, if somebody gets a copy of it and puts it on his, say, Kindle or on his, say, iPad, can he make an additional copy? And I said, no, I don't want to mess with the digital rights stuff, and I would just as soon leave it all open so that the guy can copy it. Now this does put you in the loop for the possibility that in case a dishonest person buys 1 copy of your book, he can make 8 gazillion copies then to give his friends. Now here is the title of the book, and this is what it looks like the way I had it formatted. My chapters are not numbered, but they're underlined, they're in bold, and the first paragraph is not indented. That's a common way of doing stuff. I picked the font, the size of the font, and as you go down page to page like this, you can see, I'm just hitting page down, you can see eventually it's going to hit chapter 2, and then there's a little bit of space in between the chapters, not too much. There again, the first chapter has not got an indent, and it'll go down, and I think it shows 10% of the book, and then at the very end, supposedly then by this time, the guy who has been curious enough to open up a peek inside, supposedly when he gets to the end, it says, wow, this was so good, why don't you buy it, because you can see the details of this book in the Kindle store. In other words, go back to the same page where you were, and when you do that, it takes you right back here, and you can go up here and buy it for $2.99, or you can give it as a gift, or you can put it in your cart, stuff like that. Now, I gotta warn you, if you do put a book up on Kindle, there are some flamers. These are haters. And it's the same thing as a website I got, Ubuntu Basics. You'll see some bizarre stuff, and you don't know what to do. Should I delete this, or should I just leave it up there, or should I say, hey, I'm not going to take any comments? Well, I just leave it all up there. I mean, there are crazy people, and if there's crazy people, there's nothing you can do about it. I think that's part of the appeal of the internet, that it is not regulated, it is not certified, it is not taxed, it is not controlled by governments or censors. And that's one way censors get their foot in the door. If they go in there and say, well, we're not going to allow pornography. But then you've got somebody like Chuck Schumer who says, well, I think right-wing rhetoric is pornography. So, and I mean, he really came right out and said that. I can't believe he said that. Well, in other words, don't be disappointed if after you put out the thing that you worked on for months and months and months, and then you get beset on by a flamer, by a hater. There's just really nothing you can do about that. It's like water off a duck's back. You just have to ignore it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I could put in more detail about how to put in drop caps, how to add charts, how to add pictures, how to change fonts, how to do double column, and things like that. But those are all small details that you can pick up yourself. This is the main business at hand. I've got like 150 videos, tutorials by Pop, and I wish to thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this. I thought I would interject here and show you what the PDF file looks like. The PDFs are just really nice. The line length, though, is such that you cannot alter it. Once it's set in stone. So if you turn your phone sideways, that's how many words are in every line. They don't reflow. I guess I would be remiss in not throwing in a commercial trying to sell my own book here. This is a science fiction story about time traveling. It's an expedition that returns to the KT boundary, that is Cretaceous Tertiary boundary 65 million years ago, when the big Yucatan impact occurred, causing a layer of iridium and tektites all over the world, as outlined by the Alvarez father and son team. And they think perhaps that this is what killed off the dinosaurs. However, Robert Baker says no. And there is still quite a bit of debate about what happened and what finally did kill off the dinosaurs. But we are finding out today that some of them were covered with feathers, some of them were warm-blooded by the presence of the Haversian canals in the bones, and we've seen some other things that indicate that perhaps the troodonts were somewhat intelligent. Well, this is the story about intelligent dinosaurs who got nipped in the bud by the impact. And this expedition, which has gone back in time, the human beings have located some Paleo-Indians. And the Paleo-Indians are dinosaurs who have got 3 fingers, and they are cold-blooded. And there is another team of time travelers which have come from the future, but they are derived from dinosaur stock. They've got 4 fingers. So we've got the 3s, the 4s, and the 5s. And they're able to communicate very well, and they want to know what's going on. And then to their horror, they find out that because of cause and effect and teleology, that there is an alteration now in the timeline, and they don't know if it's going to change the human being timeline, the 4's timeline, and they suspect that the 3's are going to get wiped out from this huge meteor impact. However, the 4's are telling them that in their prehistory they've got legends of very tall 3-fingered gods who come down and give them writing. Well, they don't know what to make of this, and there's a lot of political intrigue. There is a lot of religion. They've got a different sense of religion, and their politics is just like ours. It's convoluted and based on power. And the story, I hope, is very interesting and one that you would like to read. I didn't write it idly thinking that nobody would enjoy it. I've got the 3's and the 4's quoted without quotation marks because they are not using our type of speech. You can see right here I've got a different sort of quotation mark when they speak. And that's easy to do in a novel because you don't have to give speech tags so much. You put the quotation marks around it and you know that a human spoke it, a 5, but when you put these things around it, you know that it is not written, not being spoken by a human. Well, there's some love interest. Gracious me. There is a murder scene. I have got so many ideas about what's going on with evolution and religion and politics, and it's a very interesting book. There is one scene right here where we show them what we think an intelligent dinosaur would have looked like, and then they show us a photograph of a giant rat, and they say, well, gee whiz, there's a lot of rodents. We would have thought that if dinosaurs did not evolve into intelligent beings, and if mammals had done so, it would probably have been rodents. And naturally, I have got our hero, the protagonist, falling in love with the dinosaur lady, who is quite a looker, and she comes back to visit Austin, Texas, of course. And I make references to a lot of interesting books in here. The Monkey Puzzle is a story by a couple of guys who figured out that evolution proceeds at a mathematical rate that can be clocked. And we can look at the DNA divergence and tell within a few years when the continents came apart and when the Old World and New World monkeys diverged. We can tell within a few years when chimpanzees and gorillas diverged, and so on, and how much DNA is in each. And I've got a chart in here that shows what exactly is the difference in divergence between human beings. And I hope you enjoy reading the book. It costs you nothing. All you have to do is go to Amazon and join their lending library.